have carolers, we have chestnuts roasted on an open fire.
I think a penguin lives in it.
Yeah, I think so too. They're very vocal animals.
Yeehaw!
You've done this before?
No.
Okay.
Giddy up, let's go.
Hey, John Bartell here. Winter is one of my favorite times to hit the back roads. You know, whether you're looking for that snowy winter wonderland or just a festive experience, California has a lot to offer here. And over the next half hour, I'm gonna take you to some of my favorite winter locations. We're gonna start this one off right here at the Lassen National Forest, where we're gonna find our very own Christmas tree. Lassen is just one of 10 national forests in California that permit the public to cut down Christmas trees.
Boys, go find a tree.
This year, the kids are picking out the tree, with mom's approval, of course. What is it that you're looking at for a good tree?
I'm looking at the round of the green.
Cooper and Emmett Outlander are pretty confident about what they want in a tree.
It's round.
Yeah?
It's got branches where they should be.
Kinley and Tessa Robbins, on the other hand, are open to some suggestions.
Might be a little short because we got to cut it, and then we'd have to put it has to go on a stand.
Finding the perfect Christmas tree didn't used to be this hard. Long before Christianity, the Egyptians, the Romans, and other cultures celebrated winter solstice simply by putting up green plants inside their house.
Did you find one, big guy? I'm still looking up here.
It was the Germans who were credited with starting the Christmas tree tradition we know today. In medieval times, they decorated the tree with apples. Candles were added sometime in the 16th century. Do you have a favorite ornament at home?
Yeah,
Yeah, where do you think you would put it on this tree?
right here.
That seems like a good branch right here. As German immigrants moved to other countries, they also brought with them the Christmas tree tradition. Sometime in the 1840s, Queen Victoria took a liking to Christmas trees and made them even more popular.
It's a little bear on the top.
What do you think, Cooper?
I think it looks great.
Then in the 1880s, Thomas Edison's partner Edward Johnson decorated his tree with a string of newly invented light bulbs. By the 1900s, 1 in 5 Americans had Christmas trees in their home.
Rochambeau. Oh, Cooper wins.
Fix the tree.
The earliest record of Christmas tree cutting in the National Forest dates back to the 1930s in California's El Dorado and Shasta National Forests. Back then, it was common for people to cut the tops off tall trees. That's not allowed anymore. What is your strategy here?
I don't know, just to push it back and forth.
Yeah. More recently, the Forest Service found that cutting Christmas trees in the National Forest can actually help prevent wildfires by removing small overgrown trees.
And by cutting out some of the Christmas trees, you're leaving spacing for trees to grow larger that are left behind.
Christmas tree permits generally go on sale in October or November. The permit program has been around for decades and was started in part simply to attract people to visit nearby national forests. Cutting down your own tree is definitely a lot more work than just picking one out in a parking lot. But for many families, the work is worth the memories. There are many cold places in California, but the coldest place on average is located in Mono County in the well-preserved ghost town of Bodie. This is Bodie State Park, a naturally preserved ghost town, and it's the coldest place in California.
The coldest I've seen is negative 29 degrees Fahrenheit.
Bodie is a National Weather Service monitoring site, and one of Joseph's jobs is to manually record the weather.
This is not the most sophisticated process here.
No, it's not, but it's tried and true, so they've been doing this for a very long time.
From 1887 to 1882, Bodie was in its prime as a bustling gold town. It's estimated that 8,000 to 10,000 people lived in Bodie. That is, until 2 devastating fires hit the town.
So the 1892 one wiped out all the brothels, all the saloons, all the really cool stuff you probably want to see.
These days, the park rangers work to educate people on the archaeological importance of the artifacts in Bodie. This town is a piece of California history, and the main reason it's so well preserved here is because it's frozen in time in the middle of nowhere. If you've ever received a mandarin in your stocking for Christmas and wondered why and how the tradition started, I have the answer for you. Next stop, Delano. As one Christmas legend goes, old St. Nick once visited the home of a poor father and his 3 unmarried daughters. To help them through tough times, Santa put 3 golden balls into their daughters' stockings, which were drying on the fireplace. In honor of the legend, many parents began gifting oranges or mandarins instead of golden balls.
People have grown up getting a mandarin in their stocking and things like that. So Christmas in retail is the largest time when mandarins are purchased and consumed.
I hate to break it to you, but Santa is not bringing those mandarins from his workshop in the North Pole. Instead, many of those mandarins come from the wonderful Halo fruit packing plant off Highway 99 in Delano, California.
This year's crop will have about 79 million cartons, which equates to about 2 billion pieces of fruit.
Senior Vice President of Sales Dave Rook says a Halo is a specially grown, easy-to-peel breed of mandarin or clementine. And 52 weeks out of the year, workers at the Delano facility use high-tech machines to sort, clean, and pack the sweet seedless citrus.
Tangerines have seeds, others have seeds, but the varieties that we choose and the methods in which we farm them allow us to have very, very little seeds at all.
California accounts for about 50% of the United States' total citrus production, much of which is grown in the San Joaquin Valley. And to set their citrus apart from the rest, the wonderful company claims to grow the sweetest mandarins in the world.
We think sweetness sells, the world's sweetest mandarin, and the higher the sweetness, the higher the Brix level, we think the more consumer appeal. And so that's
Brix.
one of the Brix with an X.
What are Brix again?
Brix are sweetness, so that's the sugar content. That's what allows it to be sweeter tasting.
The world of citrus has become very scientific. Andrew says the average grocery store fruit has a Brix level, or a sweetness level, of about 9 or 10% Brix. Halos have a Brix level of about 13%. Unfortunately, the science behind the sweetness doesn't translate to those difficult to open mesh packaging that the citrus comes in.
How are you supposed to get into these bags?
Well, if you open it and it falls apart, then you got to eat it all at once. So that would be our choice.
Lucky for everyone opening a bag of Halos during the holiday season, they're easy to peel, eat, and they're healthy for you.
Welcome back to Bartel's Backroads. We're taking a look at some of my favorite winter locations. If you like winter hiking, walk no further than the Donner Summit train tunnels. It's an icy wonderland.
Located just off Donner Pass Road near Summit Bridge in Nevada County is a line of concrete tunnels. You'll know you're in the right spot once you see the backcountry skiers catching air. It's not required, but snowshoes do make it a heck of a lot easier to get up to the entrance.
It's not a far hike, but the elevation does get to you a little bit here.
Now abandoned, the 1,600-foot-long tunnels were once part of the Transcontinental Railroad and designed to help locomotives pass through the snowy Sierra.
You're definitely going to want to bring a headlamp or a flashlight. It gets a little dark in here.
Designed by engineer Theodore Judah, the tunnels were completed in August of 1867 and took just over 15 months to finish.
So without these tunnels here, the trains could not pass during the heavy winters. There was just too much snow for a lot of the trains to plow out.
Once inside, you'll see the rock and concrete walls. They were built by Chinese laborers who used hand drills and explosives to get through the mountain. The work was dangerous and led to untold deaths.
It can get a little scary walking through here, seeing all of these icicles right above your head.
If you have ice cleats, I suggest you bring them because water drips through the cracks and freezes on the ground, the walls, and overhead.
You know, it's pretty hard to miss all of the graffiti in here. There is actually a group that comes in here and paints over all of this, so please don't make their job harder.
The Donner Train Tunnel was used for 125 years until the rail line was rerouted in 1993. Today, it's a popular hiking trail and a testament to the hard work of Chinese laborers. Every year, the monarch butterfly migrates thousands of miles and winters in the little town of Pacific Grove. There's a number of reasons to visit the coastal town of Pacific Grove in the winter. For one, it's beautiful. 2, the temperatures are comfortable. And 3, the place is welcoming to visitors.
79.
In fact, winter is when Pacific Grove's visitor count is at its highest.
What are these ladies doing behind us here?
What they are doing is that they are getting the count of all the monarch butterflies that are in the Pacific Grove Monarch Sanctuary. This is one of the largest overwintering sites for the western monarch in California, and we keep a weekly tally of how many we find.
Pacific Grove is known as Butterfly Town, USA. From mid-October to mid-March, you'll find thousands of monarchs literally hanging out downtown.
And monarchs utilize the entire habitat. They are resting in the trees, which is why their binoculars are pointed upwards. They utilize the flowering plants for food. They even utilize the underbrush, the leaves, and the shrubs to be able to climb back up.
Natalie Johnston is a volunteer butterfly counter at Pacific Grove Monarch Butterfly Sanctuary, and she says the eucalyptus trees planted in this area act as sort of a windbreak for the migrating insects, some of which have traveled for several states.
Why are they counting them? First off, why would you even want to know the numbers?
For one, for science. This is a very threatened species, and by getting these numbers, we can get the science that leads to environmental protections for them.
Butterflies help pollinate the food we eat. Without them, many plants would die.
So we humans, we sort of need them.
Exactly.
Hey, John Bartel here. We're featuring some of my favorite winter locations. And if you like history and winter, the Nevada City Victorian Christmas is the place to be. This is what Nevada City, California looked like in the 1800s, a gold rush town full of Victorian-style homes and businesses. It was said back then that 10,000 people moved to the foothill city to profit off the gold-rich waters that ran through town. This is what Nevada City looks like today. The gold is mostly gone, but the buildings are still here, and every December, tens of thousands of people filled the streets during the annual Victorian Christmas celebration.
So we have carolers, we have chestnuts roasted on an open fire, we have folks all dressed up in Victorian attire.
The dress-up is a big part of the Victorian Christmas. It's not uncommon to see all sorts of historical characters roaming the streets. Characters like Jessica Brugnon, who's promoting a play at the theater.
My character is Lily Lacroix, and Lily Lacroix is a French songstress who immigrated to the Gold Rush town.
Other than dress-up, the 5-day event involves shutting down Broad Street, exploring the shopping opportunities, and embracing the holiday spirit however you see fit. And one spectacle you don't want to miss is the dance of the Icelandic elves. According to legend, they're normally invisible to humans.
So we come back a couple times a year here at Victorian Christmas.
Another fan favorite is the chestnut roaster. Never had a chestnut before? Well, here's your chance. The holiday nuts are free here.
Should it be tender?
Oh yeah.
Tastes like a sweet potato. Excuse me.
It does.
As day turns into night, the town lights up, and that's when the warm adult beverages come out. Well, it's tough to know how gold miners in the 1800s celebrated the holiday season, but if you walk down the streets of Nevada City during the Victorian Christmas, you might get a pretty good idea. Kayaking is generally reserved for the summer, but winter is when Lake Tahoe is at its clearest, and there's no better way to experience it than on a clear kayak. Lake Tahoe. It's known as the Jewel of the Sierra, and it's one of the deepest and clearest lakes in California.
I'm noticing we are getting very deep here, and I can see way the heck down there.
Oh yeah.
And the best way to experience the clear water is in a clear kayak.
These boats are made out of a polycarbonate plastic, same material that they use on aircraft windows.
Jeff Miller is a kayak guide with Clearly Tahoe, an adventure company focused on teaching their riders about the lake water and why it's so clean.
Lake Tahoe's purity level is 99.994% pure. Now, your still drinking water is actually 99.998% pure, so it's pretty close.
Though it's not recommended to drink the lake water, you technically could, and there's plenty of it.
They actually say that this lake does have enough water in it to supply every single person in the United States with 50 gallons of water every day for 5 years.
If you want to see Lake Tahoe at its cleanest, Jeff says you should come in winter or early spring. The holidays can be a romantic time, and every year a love song is performed just down the hill from the Hearst Castle in San Simeon. The view from Hearst Castle is absolutely breathtaking. The San Simeon coastline and rolling hills is one of the most peaceful locations along Highway 1 in the Central Coast. There are, however, some very noisy neighbors. They're very vocal animals.
Exactly. When I come out here, I like to give lots of space for the elephant seals to say what they need to say. They're actually the star of the show anytime you come out to the rookery.
The reason that state park interpreter Robin Chase likes to give these guys some space is because the conversation can get very heated and sometimes violent.
So you just heard a bellowing kind of call from one of our alpha males on the beach. He's surrounded by your cackling females.
These noisy bellows and cackles from the Piedras Blancas elephant seals are at their loudest from December to March, which is birthing and mating season. And alpha elephant seal males get very jealous.
They'll make the vocalization call. That's your first warning. If you do not move out of the way, the chase begins.
When Robin says chase, it's more like a sluggish gallop. The 4,000-pound males are protecting a harem of about 40 females who are nursing their pups in an area called a rookery.
She's gonna nurse around the clock, and the pup's gonna get huge. It's gonna go from about 80 pounds to about 300 pounds in a month. Basically a ball of blubber on the beach.
A rookery is a safe beach that elephant seals return to every year, and the Piedras Blancas rookery is one of just a handful of rookeries left in the world.
People were actually hunting whales and elephant seals for their blubber. They were turning it into oil.
During the early 1800s, an untold amount of elephant seals were killed so their fat could be used as fuel in lamps and candles.
Sadly, the elephant seal population declined to, less than 100 animals.
For many years, elephant seals were thought to be extinct until researchers found a small group of them living off an island in Mexico.
The animals rebounded very well. They're all descendants of less than 100 animals.
The elephant seal is one of California's greatest conservation stories, allowing researchers to learn all sorts of important and odd facts about the species.
What is going on with their nose, their schnoz?
It's like a secondary characteristic, kind of like a man's beard, like a little scruff on your face.
Welcome back to Bartell's Backroads, Winter Edition. The Sundial Bridge is one of the most iconic views in the city of Redding. This functional art piece spans all the way across the Sacramento River, and it's a beautiful sight to see during the day, but you should definitely check it out at night during the Garden of Lights show.
During the months of November to January, the Glass Bottom Bridge is illuminated with festive colors. And if you follow the more than 4,300 feet of cable that suspend the Sundial Bridge, you will end up in a garden of more than 1 million holiday lights.
What is the electricity bill for 1 million lights?
Well, thankfully, all these are LED lights.
If you're having any doubts on the actual number of lights, spokesperson Seth Magaha says, you can count them yourself. That might be a little tough though, because the lights cover more than 10 acres of botanical gardens.
So much work is put into installing the lights. We start in the summertime and work all the way through the fall.
Don't worry about getting lost. The Garden of Lights is a loop, and along the way, you'll run into a variety of holiday-themed displays, including the Reading Express Railroad.
He's heading up to Mount Shasta, is that where he's heading?
Yeah, this is Mount Shasta, yeah.
You won't find any carolers along the garden, but there is a musical light show every few minutes.
Music plays a huge role in the show. We have animation that's synced to the music all throughout.
And if you get a little chilly, you can warm up in this life-size snow globe or find out who's living inside the giant igloo.
I think a penguin lives in there.
Yeah, I think so too. Probably.
No matter where you are on the light show, you can see the unique architecture of the sundial. Unfortunately, though, you won't be able to tell time at night, or during the day for that matter.
Yeah, so once a year, it is accurate on the summer solstice. If you look around the sundial bridge, there's times that are on the ground and markers, and so the shadow follows that.
To be fair, standard sundials generally don't keep accurate time anyways, and accurate time was the least of the problems for world-renowned Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava, who built the bridge in 2004.
It was a complete maze of material.
The documentary Angle of Inspiration shows how hard it was to design, construct, and ship the $24 million bridge, which was mostly paid for by private funds from the McConnell Foundation. The Sundial Bridge not only celebrates human creativity, but also the beauty of Redding and the Sacramento River. At the entrance of the bridge is Turtle Bay, a 300-acre cultural center. And at the other end is the 17-mile-long Sacramento River Trail, which takes you all the way to Shasta Dam.
The Sundial Bridge is really a magnet. People come here and experience it all year.
Did you guys count all the lights?
No.
No? Oh my gosh, you guys better get started.
Well, if you like those winter destinations, there's a whole bunch more where that came from. Just head over to abc10.com/backroads and check out my interactive map. There's more than 450 different locations throughout California to check out, and you can even make an adventure of your own. I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the Backroads.